Following breaking news out of Chelsea, closer to home, police exchanging gunfire with a person barricaded inside a home, and a very heavy police presence is on scene right now.
Fire department is also there, ambulances too, because this home is on fire. Last check. Night Team's Justin Bork is there live, so let's get the update. What's happening there, Justin?
Well, you just mentioned the home was on fire. That is pretty consistent with what we're seeing here. They brought in a couple fire engines. They're moving them a little bit closer. We talked to one neighbor who said he saw billowing smoke from that house earlier. So it sounds like that fire was, at least earlier, quite involved. Now, you mentioned there is that one man barricaded inside the house. We heard 8 to 12 gunshots about a half an hour ago. We haven't heard anything since, but we are told by police that there's still gunfire concentrated from the living room. Now, we also know they're still working to evacuate people from this area, so very dangerous situation. Look behind me, you can see a lot of smoke over there and active flames. They cleared a path over here, bringing through supplies, fire trucks. We know that firefighters have gone inside this home right now, trying to put water to it with bulletproof vests under the protection of SWAT teams. Again, this is an active shooter situation. Started, as we were told, with one person inside this house exchanging gunfire with police. We ourselves out here heard 8 to 12 gunshots. Other people reported an additional 15, even 20 gunshots. Now, we haven't heard any for a while, and we aren't sure the situation with that active shooter. But again, they have entered that home. Now, earlier on, we were told they were still evacuating. We spoke to one family that had to be forced out very, very quickly here. We're also told that there was one officer with minor injuries to the hand. We have not heard any word of other injuries since. So, again, this is a very active scene here. We haven't heard any gunshots for a while, but that doesn't necessarily tell us a whole lot right now. And they're still keeping this area pretty clear. They haven't pushed us back for a little while, so we're going to keep getting as much information as we can. For now, we're live in Chelsea. Justin Bork, 7 News, Night Team.
Justin, thank you. 7 Steve Cooper also gathering information. Steve.
Right. Well, these are the images that we couldn't show you a short time ago, but we knew this was happening, and now we're able to show you the police chief in Chelsea, Brian Keyes, confirming that a woman and her 10-year-old daughter are safe. They're okay. And that would go with our story from our sources a little bit earlier that told us that the initial call came in about a man threatening to shoot his wife. Police arrived on the scene here at Warren Ave a little bit after 9 o'clock tonight. They arrived. They were met by gunfire. That person was barricaded inside. There was a volley of gunfire back and forth between the suspect, and then shortly after that, our sources were confirming that there was some sort of a fire inside the house in the garage area, and it quickly spread. Firefighters couldn't get to the scene initially. They weren't going to put those Chelsea firefighters in any danger when there was an active shooter involved here. So we were told that they were donning bulletproof vests at the time, and we were also told that they were finally able to get near the scene when this thing really got going, and you can see the images right now. And they were being protected by a SWAT team at the scene there as they got closer to the house to try to put water on it, and they didn't want to put any firefighters, any police officers in danger. We mentioned about initially police were going door to door, knocking on doors, telling people to get out of their homes, evacuate. People that didn't get out in time were told to shelter in place. And what's unclear right now is the shooter himself, what his condition is. The fire chief described as unknown right now.
We want to get to 7's Amaka Ubaka on that scene also. I think her camera is in the position that's sharing these live pictures. So, Amaka, if you could let us know what you're hearing, what you're seeing out there as we continue to watch this unfold.
What we can tell you is we are literally overlooking the house, and right now firefighters are spraying this house down. As you can see, the roof, the whole house is completely on fire. There's dozens and dozens of Chelsea firefighters along with other firefighters trying to put this fire out at this point. Right now there are a lot of witnesses just standing by and watching this all unfold. We haven't heard them call for a suspect in quite some time. We haven't heard gunshots in quite some time, but at this point we just see a lot of water trying to douse the flames of this home and a lot of smoke billowing in the air right now. They haven't pushed us too far back, but we're literally about one street away overlooking the house, and right now they're trying to tackle this house from all angles right now, trying to put out these flames. Right now I see at least 2 to 3 I guess ladders trying try to put out these flames. I see firefighters actually bringing hose, trying to relieve some of the firefighters on scene as they try to put out this fire. So far, they haven't had much luck. They've been battling this fire, I would say, for at least 30 minutes to an hour now, trying to put these flames out, but so far, no luck. Back to you.
So, Amaka, earlier when we were speaking with Steve Cooper, he had indicated that there were like negotiator-type officers out there trying to talk with the guy who was inside that house. Where you are, have you heard any sort of attempt to make contact, if you will, with this person, or have they given up those efforts and just focused straight on fighting the fire?
At this point, it's not clear. I've heard the same thing that Justin Bork was reporting earlier when we heard a number of gunshots. That was about an hour or so ago, but so far we haven't heard them trying to try and get a suspect out. At one point, we did hear them say, come on out, but that was a while ago. At this point, it looks like their main concern is trying to put these flames out so that it doesn't spread to neighboring homes. There's definitely at least 1, 2, 3, 4 houses right around this home. So their main concern right now is trying to push people back so that they continue to fight these flames. In fact, we're getting pushed back right now as they try to come in with more firefighters and more hoses to try and tackle these flames.
Let's go back to Justin Bork, the night team's Justin Bork on the scene. And you may not have the answer to this, but I think that the question most people are asking right now, are they pretty sure that the suspect, the shooter, is or was in this home? Or do you have any indication, Justin, that police are like going through other homes or searching another city or town? Do they feel pretty confident that the person is or was in the house?
Well, we can't say with any confidence from here where we are if that suspect is inside the home, if the suspect left the home, if that suspect is still at large. Our view is actually quite obscured right now by fire engines. They just brought in 3 more fire engines, so it does look like their focus is shifting right now to those flames. We could, earlier on, feel the warmth from those flames standing from where we are, so they were quite big. And as Amaka Ubaka mentioned, they were throwing water all over that. It looks like the glow has subsided at least a little bit, but again, from what we can tell, we're seeing a lot more fire presence here than there was earlier. So hopefully that would suggest that police believe it's a little bit safer in there for the firefighters to enter.
Yes, though, that fire is raging, and we see the ladder truck putting water from the left. Hard to tell what's going on from the right, but we can also see a number of homes in very close proximity. We have some very mature trees in the area. We had a heat wave last week. We did get some fire today, but and not a lot of wind, but there has to be some concern about that fire potentially spreading.
I just wanted to mention to you, Kim, and to our viewers, if we can drop that breaking news banner and zoom back in. I don't know if the photographer can hear us. If you can hear us out in the field, let's zoom back in. Look there in the driveway. Okay, there's a Jeep. It looks like we're seeing some explosions or at least some flare-ups near the garage and side entrance to the home. But you can also see a black Jeep, and then next to it, just to the left, it looks like a black pickup truck with its lights still on. I guess the piece to that puzzle will be put together when we learn some more information, but I wanted to point that out. We've got plenty of time here to talk about all this. So let's go to Steve Cooper now, who can give us any more information. We specifically, Steve, would like to know, and not sure if you do yet, the status of this suspect or the status of a search for any sort of suspect in this.
Well, Adam, keep in mind, as we told you earlier on, police quickly set up a perimeter around the scene, and then, as you heard from the reporters on the scene about that exchange of gunfire, and some of the witnesses are describing hearing sort of 2 shots and then a barrage of gunfire coming from, what would have been police on the scene. So I think before, we mentioned earlier in the night how they were letting the fire burn and firefighters weren't getting in on the scene, and that's why what you're looking at is all new just within the past few minutes.
Yes, Steve, you first revealed that we knew that we had a suspect barricaded in this house on Warren Avenue in Chelsea, but we didn't know why. And then you revealed to us that it was a domestic situation and that we knew that apparently this man was threatening his wife. Now, really good news, a relief to hear that not only she, but yes, there was a child inside, a 10-year-old, and that they both managed to get out of the house safely. Interesting that police have been surrounding that house the whole time, and I'm sure we'll get the rest of the story. But when you see the flames and you knew the situation there, it was nerve-wracking to think that there were other people inside with this suspect. So that's definitely some good news that they've managed to escape. But taking a look at the place they called home, and what a violent situation. Somebody there, barricades inside, you know, holding family members, firing at police officers, and now seemingly setting their home on fire, threatening neighbors. Just a horrible situation in Chelsea tonight.
All right, good points made there, and by Steve, especially regarding the fact that firefighters were given the clear to get closer and fight the fire. Probably indicates that there isn't a clear and present danger there, at least at the moment. Let's get back to 7's Amaka Ubaka. She is a little closer to where this is happening. We see a firefighter going up a ladder truck here, Amaka, and from a wider shot, it looks like they've really kind of hit the heart of this fire as the smoke went from black to a whiteout conditions almost. We're hoping you're in a safe position to tell us what's going on and if you've heard anything new.
Exactly, Adam. That's exactly right. We're about a couple hundred yards away from the home, and I can see that ladder truck with firefighters climbing on it, trying to put out these flames. Right now, it is just a big smoky mess right now. You can see there's still some flames. It looks like kind of to the roof or behind the home, but mostly what I see right now is smoke. I see a lot of SWAT team, a lot of police really just standing by at this point, watching in awe, watching as firefighters, several firefighters from different companies trying to fight these flames. I see at least a couple ladder trucks trying to douse out this fire. It is still on fire at this point. And a lot of smoke as a lot of bystanders are watching, police are watching, and several different fire companies just trying to do what they can to put these flames out. But right now, still a very active scene. We haven't heard a lot of information as far as that barricaded suspect, where that man may be at this point. I think the focus is really mainly on trying to make sure that these flames, that all of this, the flames and the smoke doesn't spread or cause damage to any of the nearby homes at this point. Adam?
Well, the good news is, as we watch, and we've watched over the last 15 minutes, definitely still some serious flames going on there, but much more subdued than what we saw. So obviously the tactics used by Chelsea firefighters and others are working, and definitely it looks like less of a threat to the rest of the neighborhood. We're seeing some very nice homes very close by, and must be frightening for those people. They probably have been evacuated, as police did try to evacuate neighbors. Others were told to stay in place, but I'm sure the neighboring residents were asked to leave because that would have put their safety in jeopardy, because at one point when this thing was really raging, it looked like it could easily skip to another home.
We're going to roll some video that we had a little earlier that we feel comfortable showing you at this point. This is obviously above on a nearby street. You can see at one point, not too long ago, that entire house was just being ripped apart, eaten, shredded by these enormous flames. Initially, there were reports that there was a fire in a garage, but it appears it might have started actually inside the house, then spread over to the garage, where you can see some of that vinyl siding just melting away. What brought it to this point, it's still pretty unclear. We're getting sort of dicey information, but confirmed from police sources through our reporters that it all began as sort of a domestic, which means a husband and wife or a relative, could be boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever. Two people who knew each other getting in some sort of dispute. There was a 10-year-old involved, and a woman and a 10-year-old are said to be okay. And then the person who police were after initially was armed, and we can confirm did fire at police.
All right, so one last live look here at firefighters high above this house on Warren Avenue in Chelsea. Looks like they have a good handle on the situation. Then there's also police nearby who found themselves being fired upon tonight. Our crews are there at the scene. We'll continue to watch it for you. I'm sure we'll learn much more come morning time. 7 News Today New England begins at 4:30 a.m. It does appear that the threat is over, but we're waiting to hear from police, who have not said that this suspect who barricaded himself inside has ever been able to leave the house. So it does appear that the threat, both by someone in the home and by the fire there on Warren Avenue tonight, is over, but much more to be learned about this situation.
We'll wrap things up now along with Kim Casey. I'm Adam Williams. We invite you to stay with us online and on air. Good night.
Good night.